Guys, it is happening. I have ordered 16 MB56 cells from EVE. No, actually from Yixiang. And they have arrived last week. Delivery was a bit of a disaster because I wasn't here. And the guy left all the packages at the front gate. And over time the boxes were sagging down. And one of the stacks actually tipped over and all the boxes on the concrete. Now they should be fine. So as always, they're coming in this nice thick foam, one in the bottom, one at the top. And this is how it looks like when you open one of these boxes then and take this top foam part out. So that's how they are packed and being delivered. And if they tip over or something, it doesn't really matter. You can see the foam is really thick here. So nice and good protection for these cells. And obviously there are only 2 cells in one carton, not 4 of them as we have seen with other cells before. But the capacity per carton remains the same. And with that in mind, welcome back to the Off-Grid Garage here in sunny hot Australia. Look at this beautiful weather. We actually have a bit of a haze situation over there in the west. I think they are doing backburn work already, so they're burning back all the dead grass and stuff like this in preparation for the fire season. So the sun is not as bright as usually. It is a bit smoky around this area and sometimes you can actually smell it as well. We are on 83% state of charge. And we've got 64 amps outside. And now I've also started something with this solar power meter here. So let's put this in the sun. Yeah, we've got close to a little bit over 1000. Oh, it's climbing. Getting better and better. Close to 1100 watts per square meter at the moment. It's really a great device, not expensive, and gives you a good idea how much power is actually coming from this wonderful yellow ball there in the sky. Link is down below. So my friends, in today's video we want to test these 2 battery cells here. Where are you? Here. These 2 battery cells from Yixiang. They are obviously the EVE MB56 cells with 628 ampere hours each. As you may have seen, we have tested one of these cells before. The Hakadi battery superstore was so kind to send me an early model, but these ones are the final A-grade products here sent by Yixiang. Yeah, it's a huge safety valve and even huger terminals. Look at these. Crazy. And they have welded an M8 stud on these cells. And yeah, glad you are asking. They are not coming with any bus bars or any nuts or any epoxy sheets, nothing. This is all included in the Yixiang MB56 do-it-yourself box I have reviewed recently. Many of you have left comments under the videos asking for this box. Well, guys, this is already out. Yeah, I'll link this video down below. There's also a product link to Alibaba for this box. And they have also sent me the upgrade kit already with the fuse. This was not included in the original box, but this is now all standard included in the MB56. Oh, here it is. MB56 do-it-yourself box from Yixiang. That's the one. Yeah, breaker, fuse, version 19 JK BMS. Fantastic box. But this build will come in a second video. We just want to do a capacity test of these 2 random batteries I picked here out of these 16. Get a bit of an idea of the capacity of these cells. Scan the QR codes, of course, later on. Measure the internal resistance of these cells. Yeah, man, and do a final inspection. They look really, really nice. Really well made. No scratches. No issues apart from my fingerprints already. And let's have a look underneath. Pretty sure, yeah, they come with a black insulation material, which was missing on the other MB56 cell we have tested from the Hakadi Superstore. This was apparently ripped off because it contained a barcode they didn't want to publish. So they just ripped off this black material here. This is the information I got from the Hakadi's battery superstore. I don't know. These ones are the real deal, the A-grade cells from EVE MB56. Alright, let's do a quick check on the internal resistance. 0.1 milliohms, 0.13 milliohms. This is about half the internal resistance of an MB31 cell we have tested before. Yeah, as expected, the internal resistance is only half of what we had with the other cells. LF280K, MB30, MB31, these kind of cells. So I've got one of the new bus bars here Yixiang supplies with these cells in the MB56 do-it-yourself box. It comes actually with an M3 threaded insert here for the balance cable. And this is obviously the one going to the most positive, and then this side connects to the fuse. And interestingly is that this bus bar sits only on this small recess here. So we are not using the full terminal as a contact area. There you can probably see it. Yeah, it sits only on the welded terminal, so to speak. We are using only around 12 millimeters of contact area. Yeah, we had these issues before with other cells as well. And when the first EVE cells came out with welded studs, yeah, we were a bit shocked that the contact area was so small. Yeah, but I have done tests with 250 amps through these small contact areas and found no issues if the torque is correct. I always torque all my cell terminals with 4 Newton meters only here and never had any issues even pushing 250 amps. So the full size contact area is actually not needed to make a good contact between bus bar and the terminal of the cell. And I think they're recommending here between 6 and 8 Newton meters for these cells with the M8 studs. But we will find out later when we build this MB56 box here with these cells and push some current through it. Yeah, apart from that, I just did a quick inspection here of the cells, that there are no dents, no damages, none of the corners is pushed in, and they look really, really high quality. So, at the moment, I cannot complain. So, here the lithium iron phosphate battery QR scanner. We go on scan. Oh, it picked it already up. Look at this, how quick it is. So, we've got the EVE Power 04Q. Lithium iron phosphate B in brackets, which doesn't mean B grade, MB56, 628 ampere hours, 2009 watt hours, and production date is from the 11th of June 2025. The good old Jingmen factory in China is now producing these MB56 cells as well, and they have made 6,023, I assume, that day. So a bit of issues with connecting the ZKE-Tech tester to my new Windows 11 computer. Well, I've updated it recently from 10 to 11 and now the driver doesn't work anymore to connect the USB to RS232 adapter from the computer to the ZKE tester. But luckily, a bit of Googling, I found this site here on Github. He made a new Windows 11 driver available and you just follow the instructions here on the screen and you have the ZKE-Tech up and running again and it shows the COM4 port now. We can connect hopefully. Yeah, it's connected now back. Everything is good. Thank you, Amber Line. So, and the first thing we need to do is discharging this battery down to 0 because we want to measure the capacity these cells actually have at the moment. In general, if you buy batteries, they are pre-charged to about 25 to 40%. Anything. And if you don't capacity test all of your cells, but only 1 or 2 to see what the quality is, it's probably good to know what the exact state of charge of this battery is. So I'm discharging the battery now to 2.5 volts and note the capacity we have discharged the battery with. And after all our testing, I'm bringing up this cell to this exact level again. So they are all in line. When we build the MB56 box then later on, we don't have a huge deviation just because we have tested a few of these cells. I'm trying to bring them back to the same level as they were before basically. So discharge constant current 40 amps only down to 2.5 volts and the time, we don't need a time for that. Okay, start. Invalid value, okay. Do we need to put 0 in here or I don't know. Because we are at 3.254 volts, there could be anything between 30 and 60% or even 70, 80%. We just don't know. All right, discharge the MB56 cell here and see what we have. I'll be back in a couple of hours with a result and then we do a full charge, full discharge, have the charge and discharge curve. Can these two random cells here compare with each other? And we can also compare this with the MB56 cell delivered by the Hakari Battery Superstore a couple of weeks ago. All right, see you in a couple of hours then. This test is running now. Nice. Okay, meine Freunde, let's have a look at the result. So we have discharged 123 ampere hours. I put this on a sticky note here so I don't forget. So we can recharge the battery then from empty plus 123 ampere hours to get roughly to the same level then. We can see the beautiful discharge curve here on the screen coming all the way down from 3.1, 3 volts, 2.9. Beautiful, nice. All right. Next step is to fully charge the battery. Constant voltage charging, 40 amps, 3.65, 0.05, that's 5%. 31.4 ampere hours is our cutoff. This is when the cell is considered to be fully charged, yeah? So we're charging to 3.65 volts with 40 amps, then holding the voltage constant. This is actually the only time when we have a constant voltage phase, and wait until the current goes down to 31.4 amps, yeah? And then battery is full. This will take about 16 hours, potentially even longer, because I expect that this battery doesn't have 628 ampere hours, but a lot more, maybe 650 or something. So maybe 16 hours, 20, it will be tomorrow morning, definitely. Okay, without further ado, let's start this charge test. Bam, off we go for the next 18-20 hours or so. All right, you have a wonderful afternoon, evening, night, good night's sleep. See you tomorrow morning. And a wonderful good morning, my friends. Welcome back to the Off-Grid Garage here. After the full charge test, well, it is it is a full charge test, but it is only partly. Whatever reason, we have the same shit again as last time when we tested the MB56 cells. Charge curve only goes to 3.437 volts. It's still charging with 40 amps, it says, but it is not. The tester itself actually has turned off and shows us the real result of the charge curve. The clock is still ticking, and it stopped at 675.1 ampere hours. Yeah, this is at 3.437 volts. And then for whatever reason, the recording somehow stopped. But as always, the tester is a bit smarter than the software, and it has actually recorded 682.3 ampere hours charged into the battery. And we can also see that the cell has already tapered off to 3.363 volts. Yeah, this is the natural rest voltage of the MB56 cell. So the tester is right, the software is not. It is not the USB connection like last time. I repaired this all. 100% reliable connection. So it is not the cabling, it is not the computer, it's not the software. It is the software running in the tester. I need to get in contact with ZKE-Tech somehow and see if we can do a firmware upgrade on this device here. Anyway, 682.3 ampere hours. So I looked up the video when we tested the first MB56 cell from the Hakari Battery Superstore. I've got the video up and running here. So we did a charge into this first MB6 cell of 683.2 ampere hours, and now we have 682.3 ampere hours, so the same. 0.9 of an ampere hour difference, absolutely 100% the same capacity. Okay, let's do a discharge test of this battery. It's fully charged now, and see how we go with the discharge curve and the result, of course. Jeez, I hate this unreliable technology. Can't stand it. I did some research here and found that there is actually a new software version for the EB tester software. So you can go to the ZKE-Tech website directly, technical support, software download. Here, this one here, the EB tester software English version and the driver version for the PL2303. This one did not work for me, it did not install, and I don't have this chip here in my USB adapter. But I installed the newer software, which is now the 189. So, and it says actually 2025 behind it, so I'm not sure if this is actually, this is just a name. So this new software has actually a new feature. It is called parameter calibration, and you can calibrate voltage and current for your tester. There's a low and high voltage and a low and high current calibration possible. So you can actually increase the precision of the EBC A40L. But is it inaccurate? I don't know. And here under System, we also have the possibility to do a firmware update for the ZKE tester. So if this issue persists here, I need to get in contact with them. They've got a contact us. They've got emails here for sales and tech, technical consultation. And they also have WeChat here, so I have to contact them if the problem still occurs with this new software now. But yeah, this only as an information for you if you have issues as well. There is some new software available. I'll link this all down below, and you can also get in contact with them. I think I've sent them an email once when I had the issue with the EBC A20, and they replied and said I need to contact the store where I bought the device, and they will then contact ZKE-Tech. So I'm not sure if they do any end consumer support at all. All right, back to the discharge here. See you tomorrow morning. So it is now the next morning, and we have the result here of the discharge test. Well, at least on the tester. The software has somehow tripped out again. It measured for 17 hours and 4 minutes, so that seems to be okay. But the curve looks a bit strange, right? Because we dipped down to like 2.8 volts, and then we had a voltage spike all the way up to, it doesn't even measure that anymore, 4 volts. I don't know what's going on here. That is really strange. And it measured only 250 milliamp of capacity. That's a bit low, Yixiang, right? What are you selling here? I don't know. The software seems to be very unreliable working with this device here. So we have discharged 683.6 ampere hours, yeah? The Hakadi had only 675. So 8.6. This one here, 8.6 ampere hours more than the Hakadi battery. But with this size of battery, it could be a normal variation in capacity across these cells. What a shame. I was really hoping the new EB tester software is fixing these issues here, but apparently not. Okay, I will definitely contact ZKE-Tech and see what they are saying about this issue. Okay, my friends, in any way, we have the result for charging and discharging this MB56 cells here delivered by Yixiang, and I'll do the exact same with the second cell as well now. I probably don't bother with the software. I just use the tester and do a charge and discharge test here on this to give us a second opinion about these cells, if they are in the same ballpark.
Involving MB56 cells.
What?
And a person named Yixiang delivering them to a second cell.
What?
Since the prompt is fragmented and seems to be a continuation.
Why is it talking to me?
Something else like
It picked up a word or something in my pocket here and started talking.
Are you culturing?
Okay, let me get the second test here on the way, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow, late night potentially. All right, my friends, there you have it. Testing the EVE MB56 delivered by Yixiang here on the Off-Grid Garage workbench. So I'll put the final information here on the screen for both cells. As you can see, they both have a bit over 680 ampere hours charging and discharging. Yeah, there's almost no difference between charging and discharging. So whatever energy you put into these cells, you can get the same amount out of these cells again. Yeah, the efficiency is almost 100%. There's no loss, at least not at 40 amps. You may get a bit more heat loss when you pull harder on these cells, but it is still over 99%. I mean, the efficiency of these lithium iron phosphate batteries is crazy. I don't even know how much time I spent in the last, I guess it is almost a week now since I started testing this, but we had some issues with the ZKE-Tech here, the EBC A40L tester. And I've got some updates about this issue. I'll put this all in a separate video because I think this might be interesting for other people having this tester here as well. And what ZKE-Tech actually told me, because this has nothing to do with the MB56 cell capacity testing here. So this will be a separate video then. I usually don't do any cell capacity testing anymore here. I build the battery first and then test everything together as a whole battery. Because even if there is a cell not performing as all the other ones, you will find out during the whole battery test. This cell testing is just so time consuming, it is crazy. Yeah, some people still prefer testing all these cells before they build a battery, but I'm not doing this anymore. Well, and then let's talk about the price of these cells here. They have come down under $100 now per battery, yeah? I put this here back on the screen here. This is over 2.2 kilowatt hours per cell, yeah? Yeah, these two cells are almost 5 kilowatt hours here sitting on my workbench. And Yixiang has got them for $96 at the moment on Alibaba. And when you compare this to an MB31 cells, this is about $68 at the moment, and you need 2 of them to match the same capacity as these ones. So MB56 is already about 25% cheaper than MB31. Yes, of course, they are heavier here, but we will see this when we build the battery actually then. And put all these cells here into the MB56 do-it-yourself case. I'm very keen to build this battery. This will hopefully be a lot of fun. Alright my friends, I think so far this video today here. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your amazing support here, for leaving nice comments and sharing and liking these videos. And also a very special thanks to all the people who are donating to the channel here, buying me a beer, a spat so to speak. I will use some of the money to restock the spat fridge of course. So when it gets really sunny hot down here in Australia again, I'm prepared. And also welcome to all the new channel members. Thank you very much for your ongoing and recurring support for less than a coffee a month. And another thank you for over 115,000 subscribers now. Guys, this is amazing. Thank you very much. This all helps keeping this channel alive here and making it independent. Yeah, I'm not reliant on any sponsorships from companies or something. I'm not doing any advertising here. You always get honest and fair reviews here on this channel. And this is all thanks to your support. So thank you very, very much for that. Alright guys, until the next video, when we either build this battery here or do something else. I've got so much, the list is so long. Guys, anyway, until then, you stay charged, stay safe, and thanks again for watching. See you then. Bye bye.